Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. It's Steve Lookner. How are you? We are here live on Sunday, May 7th. We are covering the French election results. It is 1:56 Eastern Time. So in about 4 minutes, some of the polls will close in France. The big cities close in an hour and 4 minutes. So I'd been led to believe that it's not until an hour and 4 minutes from now that they're allowed to release their exit polls there and they start officially releasing the votes. We've seen some rumors here and there today, which we'll talk about. But anyways, glad you can join us today for our coverage of the French election results. Happy to be here with all of you. I can see the chat room in front of me. Yes. So Ella says, we see you. And Ellis says loud and clear. Well, that's good. It's always good to be both seen and heard. Let me just also make sure I have the right microphone setting checked here. All right. This should all be good. All right. So I'm going to basically for this, once we get till about 2 p.m. Eastern. At 2 p.m. Eastern, that's when hard numbers start coming in. Until then, I'm kind of going to be searching around the web, seeing what kind of rumors I can find. Going to be taking your questions, listening to your comments. If you'd like to write in while we're on the air, actually, let me do something here. Pause that. If you'd like to write in while we're on the air here, you know where to go. It's on your screen right now. You can send me a comment or a question. I'm happy to read your comments on the air or try to as best as I can answer your questions. You can reach me. And I realized I didn't do. I thought I did everything today. I really did think I did everything to prepare for this. But I left the door open. So I got to close that. Whee! Well, hopefully that's the only thing I forgot to do. So, and this, not that anyone cares, but I am working on here, getting the setup here so that with a green screen and everything, so that soon, maybe in a couple weeks, when we do this kind of coverage where I'm at my apartment, it'll have the studio background and everything. So it'll look like we're in the studio through the magic of green screen. Working on that. Probably I'd say 2 weeks for that. So for now you can enjoy my apartment wall. Also the lighting will be better. We're working on all of this stuff. Anyways, so welcome to the coverage, and we'll also be going to periodically the results of the election, but we'll do things like this. But see, it's 0-0 right now. It's 0-0. There's no official votes being counted and reported yet. So we'll start going to that more when the polls actually close. So, but again, I'd love to hear your comments and take your questions, especially in the first part of the coverage before the polls have closed. So write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Speaking of which, I once again forgot to put your emails up here. So let me do that real quick, just so I have them in front of me. All right, that's good. So, quick hi, the moderators out there, and also everybody else in the chat room. Moderators, thank you for moderating. Chat room, hello, how are you? And I want to also talk about, I had seen some messages before. So one thing we are sure of here. Oh, you know what I can do? See, I forgot I can actually screen capture some tweets. So let me show you a little something here. Let me screen capture this and then show it to you. If I can take 2 seconds here. All right, there's that. That's done. Let me get you to this scene. Ooh, which picture do I want? Change, tweet. This is all going somewhere, folks. Trust me on this. There we go. So this is from Zero Hedge. The French voter turnout. Can I move me out of here? Hold on. Let me move me a little bit because I'm in the way. Whee! French voter turnout at 5 p.m. is 65.3%. That is the lowest since 1988. And he gives at Zero Hedge, or they give all of the turnout from the last 5 elections. Now, the turnout. I haven't even said who's running yet. So for those of you who aren't aware, the 2 candidates are Marine Le Pen from the National Front Party. She is more right-wing, more anti-immigration, more anti-globalism, she's anti-EU. She wants more government intervention in the economy, and she is running against Emmanuel Macron, and Emmanuel Macron is from the En Marche party, On the Move party, and that party only started a year ago. He has never held elected office. He worked in the government for a couple years as an economic minister. He is much more pro-integration with Europe, pro-economically liberal. He wants to get rid of a bunch of the French controls of the economy. He is pro-immigration. So real contrast between these two candidates. And the conventional thinking is that lower turnout helps Le Pen because there might be a number of voters who would normally not vote for Le Pen, but they don't want to vote for either of the two candidates. So rather than voting against Le Pen, they might just sit out the election. Or there's been some speculation some people who do vote will turn in a blank ballot or something. So how much this will help Le Pen, we don't know, even if it will help Le Pen. And just to get this out on the table, recent polling from the last week or so had the race tightening a little bit, but Macron was still up by around 60-40 over Le Pen. So if she somehow wins, that would be a gigantic upset given the recent polling. But hey, it's an election, we got to count the votes, so we're going to wait until we count the votes and see what happens. Even if she loses, it'll be interesting to see what percentage she gets. And remember, it's not just about the presidential election. So the presidential election is today, but in June they have the legislative election, and the same parties are going to be running, and Le Pen's party will be running in the legislative election. So let's say Le Pen loses today, but she gets in the mid-40s and she comes close. Perhaps that's a sign that her party will do well in the legislative election. So we will have to see. Okay, so I'm going to leave that tweet up there for a second. See if I can get any other tweets. And I want to check your messages. It is 1:03 p.m. I might have said the wrong time before because I'm getting confused between Eastern and Central Time. It's 1:03 p.m. Eastern. All the polls will be closed in France at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're waiting for that to happen. For now, let me just see if there's any updates here for you that I can grab. Polling things or stuff. Not seeing anything yet. Feel free also if you see an interesting thing on the web or an interesting thing on Twitter, which is on the web, and you want to say, hey, I saw this tweet or I saw this article or something. Give me a heads up. Shoot me a message on Twitter @Lookner and let me know. Now here's something I'm seeing. Now, just so you know, any of this early numbers, as we know from I don't know if France is exactly the same, but I assume that when you have early exit polling, it can be wrong. But here's a tweet I'm going to post right now. Here's a tweet. Let me capture this, folks, for you. I will capture it for you. Oops, that was a bad capture. Let me try that again. Okay, here we go. Let me replace this pic here. Oops. Let me get me out of the way so you can see this. So this is a tweet I just saw, and again, I don't know about the source, but it says live breaking according to La Libre sources. This has Macron ahead 63-37, but I don't know where these votes are coming from. I don't even know. For all I know, this might just be exit polls from one part of the country. Don't know. I'm giving you what I find on the web, so just so you know, that's there. But I'll try to find some other things on the web too about early exit polls or whatnot. But that's the latest tweet I saw about some kind of exit polling. But we'll see what happens. And so again, I don't know about the reputability of that number there. Let me put me back on. Here we go. Anyways, let's see. I think somebody sent me a message, so let me get to that. Sightless Seer writes in, this is a question for, as much for you, Steve, as all viewers. What are some things we can learn from the French elections and the election system and benefit from as a nation? Well, you know, one main way their system is different from ours, I guess, is that they have this full election with all the candidates and then like a runoff election. So remember, like a couple weeks ago, they had this election with 11 different candidates, and then the top 2 go to a runoff. Now, as to whether that would be good for us, you know, a difference in that is that you don't have smaller parties siphoning off votes for larger parties. So, for example, you know, some people said, hey, in the last election, you know, I can't remember, Stein. I want to say Jules Stein. That's wrong, isn't it? I'm really losing my mind. See, this is what happens. Jill Stein. My gosh, my brain is not working this morning. Jill Stein. Some people said she took away votes from Hillary Clinton. And the thing is, when you have a runoff election, then you have the 2 people run in the 2 highest in the runoff election run in the final election. You rid yourself of the issue of like smaller candidates taking votes away from the more popular candidates. However, I've heard people say that in that kind of system, what it does is it makes it less likely for a less traditional candidate to win. So as whether, you know, because, you know, they have to get, the winner in this system, the French system, ultimately has to get 50% or more of the vote. You can't win an election with less than 50% of the vote because there's only 2 people in the final election. So some people might prefer the French system, some people might not. You know, more we could talk about, but that's one big difference. Let's see here. I want to make sure I'm caught up with your messages. Ket King writes in, Steve, I honestly think Le Pen will win because there are not electronic voting booths in France, only paper ballots. Now, so interesting theory, Ket King. I've been interested in knowing more on why you think having only paper ballots means Le Pen will win. But thank you, Ket King, for writing in. Let me just do a quick check here on my Twitter and see if there's anything else worth putting up there. You know what I'm going to put up this pic here. Because I don't want to leave that one tweet up there because I have no idea about, you know, if it's accurate or not. So let me do this. This is always an accurate one here. Oops, where is that one? There we go. There's the 0-0. See, it's at 0-0. That's the official count. Let's see here. What do we got? And excuse me while I look around to get you some more news. Tom Sapola just sent me a tweet that said estimated final voter turnout would be 74%, which would be the lowest since 1969. 2012 was 80%, 2007 was 83%. Now, even though I've heard lower turnout is supposed to favor Le Pen, given that she was trailing by a bunch in the polls coming into the election, I don't know if like a lower turnout of 74 as compared to 80 will help her that much, even if it helps her. Don't know, we'll see. It's all up in the air. We're going to wait till the votes come in. Ket King writes in, I think it's much harder. Ket King, you think Le Pen has a better chance at winning because it's paper ballots, because you say, I think this is because it's much harder to rig paper ballots as opposed to electronic voting ballots. So you were worried, Ket King, that the vote was going to be rigged against Le Pen if it was electronic. Now, I have not heard anything confirming this, but I respect your opinion, and thank you for writing in. Feel free to write in again if you'd like. I'm also going to check the chat real quick. So, hello to everybody in the chat, by the way. I'm peeking. This is one of these things where I'm peeking at like 4 things at once. I have, I know France 24 is covering this in English. So if you want to have us on, and you can have France 24 on at the same time if you want, you can go to them on the web as well. Just search France 24 on YouTube. And now, France 24 is also saying the abstention estimate is 26%. So that's interesting. That means of the people casting ballots, a quarter are estimated to abstain, which would, I guess, mean submitting like a blank ballot or something. Now, I don't know how that compares to the usual abstention of French election. So So I can't say with them. It seems like a lot of abstentions. We'll see. And another thing I should mention is, as I'm sure a number of you are aware, a couple days ago, this there was a release of hacked material from the Macron campaign. A bunch of emails that were sent by the campaign, I think, was a lot of the leak, if not all of the leak. I haven't read through the whole leak, but that I know emails were in it. And the French press has been basically not reporting on this. They have in France, there's this whole moratorium like the day before the election. I know the candidates can't post on social media, but there's certain things the press aren't supposed to talk about. But I guess the press it's very different than the US because the press all just didn't, for the most part, report on these leaks. And there's different speculation as to whether there's damaging stuff in these leaks or not. I'm not familiar with all the nuts and bolts of the leaks. So, but that is a story that's been around the last couple days, and just wanted to get that out there. Okay, so right now it is 1:12 p.m. In 48 minutes, we are going to have hard numbers coming in from the French elections, because that's when all the polls close. I think some are closed now, but not in the big cities. So we'll have the starting to get official results and I think they can officially release exit polls. I'm not sure about that, but I remember at 8 p.m. last election 2 weeks ago in France, that's when we started seeing a lot of stuff released. So sorry, I'd be more fluent in the American system than the French, so I don't want to give you false information. I have a message here from Joey MP. Joey MP says, Joey, you sent me a video that says, have you seen this video? Ballots arrive without Le Pen as an option. And this is a Paul Joseph Watson. Hold on, let me see if I can. I'll just show you the tweet. I'll show you the tweet. So this is what Joey sent me. Hold on, let me screen capture this tweet. I have no idea whether this is true or not, by the way. I'm just sending it out so I can, so you can see it. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's see if I can get this up on your screen right now. Jeez, let me turn that down. Wow. Oh, so every time it's going to have, you're going to get a system. No, you're not. You're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. No, you're not going to get that system sound. Okay, we have here. Let me get rid of me. So this is that tweet from Paul Joseph Watson that he sent out. When was it? I don't know. Yesterday. Oh, this morning. I have no idea if it's true or not, but one of our readers, Joey, sent it in, so I want to show it to you. It says, duplicate Macron ballots being sent out with none for Marine Le Pen. I'm sure this is nothing to worry about. And if you want to see this, just go to Paul Joseph Watson's Twitter page, and you can see it there. And Sightless Seer wrote in, what are some areas or suggestions one can make in which the French election system could be improved to alleviate the problem of the run-on system causes? And what are your thoughts on how media regulations in French elections, in financial contributions, restrictions in elections, do you think the American system could benefit from learning from it? So the problem with Sightless Seer is, these are great questions. I am very unfamiliar with the French system, so I couldn't give you any kind of intelligent answer as to whether some of the parts of their system could be would be good for our system. What I'd really need to do is study this and do some more research on it. So if I have some time over the next couple of weeks, I will. I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer to your question, but my best answer is that I don't know enough about it right now to give you a good answer. So that's my answer. But thank you for asking. All right, let me go back to Zero, zero. That's where we're at right now. Let me get me on the screen. We're at 0-0. Thanks, Joey, for sending that in. By the way, let me just say, if you enjoy our coverage here of on Right Side of the French elections, I'm certainly guessing, like last time, the mainstream media won't be covering it that much. And they won't be doing interactive coverage like we do. So we're hearing from you, the viewers, if you enjoy this other option for your news coverage, I hope you consider donating, because we rely on your donations at Right Side to stay on the air. We cannot stay on the air without you. Your donations make up the vast part of our operating budget. So if you'd like to donate during the program, you can either go to rsbn.tv/donate, or, and that's going, you can see that address is running by on the, you'll see it on the ticker, rsbn.tv/donate, or you can always donate in the YouTube chat. You can click on the $ in the YouTube chat, and at the bottom of the chat next to the feed, and donate that way. And if you do that, I should be able to see your donation when it pops up, so I'll thank you for it. And also, you can, if you're interested in making like a recurring donation in exchange for getting like neat stuff like Right Side mugs and other Right Side goodies, you can check out our Patreon site, www.patreon.com/rsbn, and what it does is it lets you make, you can set a monthly donation and you get stuff from us in return, neat Right Side stuff. So www.patreon.com/rsbn. Thank you in advance for your donations and all the donations you've given us so far, which lets us come on the air and do stuff like this, like we're doing today. Tom, you just sent me the tweet that Paul Joseph Watson sent me. Thank you, Tom. The duplicate Macron ballots ones being sent out with none for Marine Le Pen. Deplorable Aaron writes in, interesting view on the French and Dutch elections. By the way, Super Novanika just donated $2. Thank you, Super Novanika. Very much appreciated. Thank you. All of us at Right Side appreciate it. On behalf of all of us at Right Side, thank you for your donation. Very cool. So Deplorable Aaron sent me a link, and it says, if Le Pen doesn't do it today, you guarantee she will win in 4 years, same times as Geert Wilders wins. So this person, Tommy Robinson, thinks that I'll show you this tweet. Why not I show you? This is a tweet that Deplorable Aaron sent me, so I'll just show it to you. Why not? This is what I was just talking about. Oops. So that's the tweet Deplorable Aaron sent me. This person, Tommy Robinson, thinks that in 4 years, if Le Pen doesn't win today, her and Geert Wilders from the Netherlands will win. That's his opinion. Joey MP also writes, French article claiming some ballots arrived with the Le Pen option ripped, thus invalidating the ballot. And you sent me a link to that. Thank you, Joey. I won't have time to look at it now, but thank you. And 2002 Florida Explorer sends me, he says, here's a nicer looking election results page. Let's see. Ooh, I see that one. Now, I'll check that one, 2002 Ford Explorer. My question is, will they have... Right now, it doesn't even have the names up there. So, once it gets its names up there, maybe I'll go to that one. And I know last time there should be, I think the Interior Ministry of France has an election site. And that was a good page before. They seem to get their election results in pretty fast. So we'll try to find that one too as soon as the results start coming in. All right, let me go back here to year. Also, there's some noise coming from outside my apartment now, like somebody's doing some sanding or something. So I hope that doesn't bother you too much. Maybe you can't hear it. I apologize though, if you are hearing it. Oops. Oh no, what a disaster. It's not really a disaster. Let me just get that picture up there. There we go. Okay, so this is again our live election coverage at Right Side Broadcasting of the French presidential election. Marine Le Pen versus Emmanuel Macron. At, let's see, at 40 minutes from now, we will have the polls all closed and the hard numbers start to come in. So look forward to bringing that to you. If you would like, you can message me during the show, and I'm happy to read your comment on the air. Let me know what you're thinking today about all of this, about the election, how it's going, what do you think will happen, all of that stuff. Or if you have any exciting links you find and you want to show me, let me know. You can direct message me at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner, or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. And Patricia W. just donated $5. Thank you, Patricia W. Very nice of you. I really appreciate it. Very cool of you. Your donations like that, Patricia W., keep Right Side on the air, so we all appreciate it. And I just got a message from Jake, who's helping me with the stream today, and Jake says, stream looks and sounds good. Speaking of Jake, thanks, Jake. Speaking of Jake, by the way, he did a special concert yesterday for Patreon subscribers. I forget what the level is, but subscribers at a certain level of subscription got access to a VIP, well, I hate using the term VIP, a Patreon subscriber-only concert from Jake. And it was amazing. It was like an hour and 45 minutes long, and he played like all of his songs, and he also like, between every song, he explains the story of the song. And I didn't even know the vast majority of these stories. So it was really cool for me to watch it. And anyways, that's one of the things you can get on Patreon. If you subscribe to us on Patreon, you get like goodies like that. But nice job, Jake, on the concert. JC is saying Jake rocked it. So JC, I assume you saw it. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really, really good. And I also liked he saved American Dreamer for the end. It was his big hit. He knew I should save it for the end, so he saved it. What I didn't know if he was going to do an encore where he goes off and he comes back on and then he plays American Dreamer, but he didn't do the encore thing, which might have been tough live streaming. All right, let's get back to French election talk. Let's see if you have sent me any new comments here. All right, I'm up to date there for your comments. Did I close my email? Stevie Cowie writes in from the UK. Hi, Stevie. Stevie says, it's hard to say. They did the same with Brexit and Trump to say Le Pen isn't due to win. But one thing is for sure, I'm at the edge of my seat. This is the next big event. This is huge. This could be the next blow against the elite. Today is the day. This could be the end of the EU. From Stevie in the UK. Thank you, Stevie. Yeah, so if Le Pen does win, it could be the end of the EU because Le Pen has said she wants to pull out. And if she pulls out of the EU, if France pulls out, then there might be no more EU. But I'll say this also, whether or not Le Pen wins or loses today is one question, but there's also this question of how many, let's say even if she does lose, how much percentage does she get? And if she does get, above 40%, and it's a closer election than people think, that's important too. It seems like either way, her party is going to be more important than it has been. Her dad used to run the party, and I think it was like something like 15 years ago when he was in an election, but I want to say, he got way, I want to say like 18% or something like that. Le Pen election 2002. Let's see if I can figure out French president election 2002. So her father in the National Front only got, in the second round of the election, he was in the runoff, but he only got 18% of the vote. I was also reading, there's this thing that happens in France called like the Republican Front, and what that is whenever like a non-establishment candidate runs in the when the runoff election is somebody from an established party versus somebody from a not established party, all the other parties, established one, just endorse the establishment person, and it's called the Republican Front, to keep the non-established establishment person from not winning. Now in this election, neither candidate is from the two big parties in France that have run the government for the last 60 years or so. Those are the Socialist Party and the Republican Party. But Macron is still seen as like the establishment candidate. So a lot of like establishment figures endorsed Macron for this runoff election. Okay, a couple messages in here. GSB.UK says, hi Steve, over here in the UK they are saying if Le Pen loses, her niece could be the next Le Pen to run. Have you heard that? I haven't, but that doesn't mean it's not true. It just means it's because I don't follow French politics so closely. So thank you, GSB UK from the UK, I presume, for giving us that insight, giving that little piece of news. Sightless Seer, you sent me some background to study the French elections. Thank you, Sightless Seer. I will check that out later. Let me check here and see as we are at 1:26 p.m. And I'm seeing somebody else report that that early exit poll number we saw, which was Macron 63, Le Pen 37, but I'm not aware of where that was from. I don't know what part of the country it was from. I don't even know who took it. So I'll keep trying to look out for more information for you. There's also this questioning. I'd seen some reports that there might be some like rioting in France tonight. You know, who knows who it'll be? Maybe it's just like Antifa people who like to riot whenever there's a chance of rioting, because their candidate lost, like the left-wing candidate lost in like the runoff election. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that as well. Yeah, thanks. Tom Cipolla also sent me this story. It says French polling day security alert, Louvre evacuated. And this was a couple hours ago. They evacuated the area around the Louvre Museum where Macron is supposed to speak later, but I heard nothing after that. So I assume I heard they found a suspicious package, but since I've heard nothing since then, I assume everything's under control there. This is okay. So thank you. SH7401 sent me a tweet here from Lauren Southern, which I'll show you. This is what Lauren Southern tweeted. So Lauren Southern tweeted today. This morning, French Uber driver, if Le Pen wins, guns are coming out. So I guess that would mean the French Uber driver thought that if Le Pen wins, like people are going to fight it with guns, or there's going to be like rioting or something. So, and Lauren Southern, for those of you who don't know, is a prominent conservative commentator. I think she's originally from Canada. And Honest Independent News just donated $1. Thank you so much, Honest Independent News. We appreciate you contributing and helping us to stay on the air. Every donation matters. Every donation is equally important to us. So we really appreciate your contribution, Honest Independent News. And just to clarify, you might say, Steve, you're lying. Every donation isn't equally important to you guys. Like if somebody gives you like $10,000, that's more important. Well, I understand that people give different amounts of money, but the point is that like you know, people have different amounts of money, and it's like large or small, we don't care about donations. We appreciate even if somebody gives like a cent, that's a cent of their money that they're giving to us, and that's valuable to us, and that means that they enjoy our programming, and they're entrusting us with their money, their hard-earned money, to do more programming with it. So all the donations we take, you know, we value in a very high way, and so you know, and the messages, and also the small ones really add up too. So thank you so much, Honest Independent News, much appreciated. Tom Cipolla says, do the people of France even have guns, legal ones at least? I don't know. I don't know what French gun laws are. I can do a quick search and see. My guess would be that most people don't have gun laws there because it's Europe. The weapons law, Wikipedia says nobody shall possess a firearm or firearms with very few exceptions allowed there. So that's it. So perhaps well, who knows what that tweet, you know, that Uber driver might know some people with guns though. So, all right, let me go back to the results picture of the 0-0. There we go. There's your 0-0. I think some people sent me some messages here that I want to get to. Deplorable Aaron wrote in, there was a story I saw earlier that police in France are searching for a man who could attack at any time. I'm not sure, Deplorable Aaron, if that's related to the suspicious package they supposedly found near the Louvre. Don't really know anything more about that situation. If I hear more, I'll let you know. Thanks for writing in, Deplorable Aaron. Binary Agent writes in, the Russian narrative they flung on Le Pen is by the same that said Trump and Brexit wouldn't win, the establishment globalists. So, well, what you're saying is, by the Russian narrative, are you saying like this narrative that the Russians did this hack of the Macron campaign to help Le Pen? Is that what you're saying, Binary Agent? And now I will say this, you know, I've seen some comparisons and saying people said Trump and Brexit couldn't win, and they won. So couldn't Le Pen win? And yes, she could win. But I will say this, the polling in the run-up to Brexit and the Trump-Clinton election were much closer than the polling was in the last week in France. That's not to say Le Pen has no chance. It's just she has to make up a lot more ground than, in the polling than President Trump might. Or, I don't want. The point is that the race doesn't at least seem, according to the polls, to be so close as it was in both the Brexit situation and the U.S. election last year. That's not to say she couldn't win, though, but it's like a little bit of a harder road to climb. You might think she needs more of a surge than Brexit or President Trump might have gotten. We'll see what happens. It's 1:31 now. In just 29 minutes, all the polls will be closed in France. I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We are bringing you live coverage of the French election. So glad you are joining us and watching right now. And let me just do one thing real quick. I want to check one thing. Sorry, folks. There we go. Okay. And we're also taking your comments and questions. Also, if you have links to stories or to tweets you want me to see, send them in. And I'm happy to read your comments on the air. We also, we like you to send in things. We like you to help us cover. We like when you help us cover the news here. We cover it all together. And you can write me on Twitter at Lookner at LOOKNER or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. And as you see on the ticker there. We do appreciate your donations because we are funded by you. We would not be on the air without your help. Your support is our large part of our budget. So if you'd like to donate during the show, any amount is welcome. You can always go to rsbn.tv/donate, or you can donate in the chat room by clicking a $ on YouTube below the chat room, clicking on the $. And if you do that there, it'll pop up and I'll see it. If you happen to make an rsbn.tv donation, feel free to take a screenshot and you can email it to me and I'll give you a shout out and say thank you as well. So I'd love to thank people on there for donations. We all do. Let's see. Binary Agent said, yes, you were talking about the supposed Russian narrative that the Russians were the ones who hacked into the Macron emails. That has not been confirmed yet as far as I've heard, but I've heard some people say that's what happened. SH7401, you sent me a tweet that says, Radio London was right in the first round of the elections. It says Marine Le Pen will be the winner by 50 to 49. That's from Democrats for Trump tweeted that out. So I'm not aware of the Radio London thing, what they did in the first election, but that's one tweet where somebody said they thought that Marine Le Pen was going to win. We'll see what happens, but thank you SH7401 for sending that in. Let's see here. Silas Seer, you wanted to know what I thought if Le Pen would have the same traction as she had this year if there hadn't been those terrorist attacks in France recently. I mean, there was one a couple of weeks ago, but it's so funny. It's my mind is slipping, and I'm trying to remember the one from a couple of weeks ago. I'm trying to remember what exactly it was. I can't even remember. We're in the newsroom every day, and these things all meld into one. But anyways, it's from what I've read, it's kind of hard to say, with terrorist attacks, how much they affect a vote. I mean, people can speculate, but it's hard because, you can't poll every voter as to what determined their vote. And, even when you ask voters, if somebody votes and you talk to them after and you say, what determined your vote? Hold on a second. Dakota Tribe donated 10 euros and said, Viva la Revolution. Thank you, Dakota Tribe. That's so nice of you. And apparently you're in Europe. I'd be interested in knowing, Dakota Tribe, where you are from in Europe. Feel free to let me know. But thank you, Dakota Tribe, so much for donating in euros. And you say, Viva la Revolution. So anyways, I was just saying it's hard to tell how much, say, a terrorist attack affects a vote, because even if you ask people and they for one, people might not know what affected their vote, really. I mean, it can be hard to think of, why did I vote exactly the way I did? There might be a lot of factors. But another thing is, it might not be clear to yourself why you voted a certain way. You know, maybe a terrorist attack might affect the way somebody votes, but not consciously, unconsciously. So it's very hard to say how certain particular events affect people's vote. I mean, you can poll, but it's imperfect. So I don't really have a good handle on that. Look, I'm sure, for example, if you have some giant terror attack or a series of them, that's going to affect, maybe it'll push people toward a candidate who wants safety. But, you know, not sure in this election how much role it's playing. Rafa's left NI ... I won't say it. At Charcotiao writes in, and it was not, it was, I should say, Rafa's left NIP ... That's what it is. It said, what's the mainstream media projection for this election? Well, the polling I saw this past week has been 60-40. So I would say if there's a mainstream media projection, it's 60-40, but who knows what it'll be, actually. Grant writes in, people already won. Now you write /PPL/. Now, I'm not really familiar with 4chan, but that could be a 4chan board. Is that a 4chan? Are you saying people won, like, or the 4chan board PPL already won, Grant? I don't know. Feel free to let me know. And let's see here. Tom Cipolla writes in, considering the trove of CIA hacking tools designed for masking exploits, the Russian fingerprints accusation means nothing. So Tom, you are not convinced, or you're not on board with these accusations. You're not convinced by them that that Russia was the one who led the hacking into the Macron campaign. I'm gonna post another tweet here. This is interesting. I just spotted this on Twitter. Here we go. This was kind of interesting. Oops. It'll be interesting when I show you. Well, let me get rid of me. So this tweet says, this is from this woman, Anila, who's verified. Who is she? She is, she's a deputy online editor at Al Jazeera. And she, I guess, is in France covering this, and she writes, this guy, Francois, said, I voted blank. The candidates don't represent me. Foreigners and Roma are the problem. They come here, don't work, get everything. So this is interesting. This person said they voted blank, and they seem to be against immigration, yet they didn't vote for Le Pen. Don't know what that means, you know? So, but that's an interesting tweet. Let me put this down here. I'm down there. There we go. So that's a tweet I thought I just wanted to put out there. Is there anything else about the election right now? Grant, you meant POL, not PPL. Yeah, you said that board was the winner, the POL board. They were the ones. I don't think they originally released the Macron leaks, but they were certainly prominent in getting word out about it. So thank you, Grant, for writing that in. Sightless Seer, you reminded me it was the Champs-Élysées shooting. That was the terrorist attack on April 21st. I was trying to think of. Thanks, Sightless Seer. Andrew Sova writes in, regarding Russian WikiLeaks, is Russia our savior? No, I'm joking. It sounds like you might be referring to something, Andrew, and I'm not sure what it is, so feel free to write in and clarify. This is a message from Funny5Nerd writes in, have the results come in yet? No, the polls don't close for another 20 minutes, so we will be waiting in 20 minutes to see what reports we get. Robo-Libertarian writes, Le Pen is going to take it, 52-48. That is your prediction, Robo-Libertarian. Thank you for writing in. Let me get back to, this picture here of the results, of the non-results so far. There we go. SH7401 says it's pronounced Pepe, not PP. I wasn't saying PP. I think I was saying Pepe, but it's pronounced Pepe. Yes, so we thank you, SH7401. I wasn't saying PP. UK Beast, thank you for writing that story. And yes, another viewer sent in that story. I had seen it earlier. It's about police in France searching for a man who could attack at any time. I saw that reported. I don't know anything more about that. So we'll keep an eye on the news. Hopefully nothing violent will happen there. Janks says, it looks like in this second round, the voter turnout rate is 69% so far. Thank you, Janks. Yeah, reports are that the voter turnout is, the voter turnout is a little down this election compared to the last couple elections. I saw an estimate that said the turnout would probably be around 74% as opposed to 80 and 83% for the last couple of elections. A lower turnout is supposed to help Le Pen. As I said before, I don't know if it's that difference in turnout, that 6% difference or whatever, if that's going to help her that much. We'll see. Oh, BHR Podcast gave us $2, thank you, and said, Macron, the product of pedophilia. So I think what you're referring to, BHR Podcast, is the fact that Emmanuel Macron married a woman who is 24 years older than him, who is his teacher, I believe his drama teacher in school. I think there might have been a report that said they started seeing each other or something when he was 15. I'm not sure about this. I don't know if it's accurate or not. I read some kind of report last night about that, so you might be referring to that in your specific comment. I have no information on this, but the information I have is that he is married to this woman and she was his teacher, but I don't have any information on specific things they might have done together. But thank you for sending the money, and we really appreciate it. And B. Neal said gave us $5 as well. So that's really nice of you guys to donate to us. And your donations, we just take them and we put it right back into keeping Rights Out on the air. That's what we do. We don't split it up and say half for ourselves and half to Right Side. Like literally, you guys donate and it helps us stay on the air, because every month we gotta pay money to stay on the air, and we're just doing our best to stay on the air, and that's your donations help that. And Elvis Garibaldi sends in 50 Swedish kroner. Thank you, Elvis, very much. I guess that means, Elvis, you are in Sweden, so that's very nice of you from Europe to both watch us and to send in these donations. So thank you all so much for your donations. Thank you, Elvis. Thank you, B. Neal. The person before, I think it was BHR Podcast, if I'm remembering that right. Well, I said it right the first time, but that's really cool of you to donate. That first person was BHR Podcast who donated before. Thank you. So cheers to you. Much appreciated. Let's see if there's more info here. Okay, I am just seeing breaking news. There was a shooting reported in central Paris. I'll put this tweet up. Now, first of all, I'm not sure this is true. But second of all, this could be a shooting that's just domestic violence and doesn't have to do with the election. Let me put that tweet up for you now, though, so I can show it to you at least. Sorry, folks. Sometimes my screen capturing goes awry. Let me try this again. There we go. That's the tweet I just saw. So it says, breaking shooting reported in central Paris. I know nothing more about this. I don't know if anyone got hit. I don't even really know if it's true, because it's just coming from breaking news, Twitter, and I have no idea if it's related to the election. But I figured I'd get that information out to you anyway. Okay, so right now it's 1:45 right now, and in 15 minutes the polls. Tech Warriors just donated $5, said, keep fighting the good fight. Please help us hit 3,000 subscribers. I assume you mean you, Tech Warriors. So that's a message to people in the chat room. But we really appreciate you donating, Tech Warriors. It's very nice of you. Thank you, Tech Warriors, for helping to keep Right Side broadcasting on the air and bringing you new news. So we have 15 minutes until the polls close. I'm going to take a 1-minute break and come right back. So let me do that, and I'm going to leave the results on the air up. Actually, I'll get rid of me, and I'll be right back. So give me 1 minute. I am back. Thank you for your patience. Nothing more on that shooting right there that I saw that tweet about. If there's more, I'll let you know about it that I get. So let me go back, though, to the results pick. There we go. And Patrick Hill just gave $10. Thank you so much, Patrick. That's very nice of you. Very generous. Patrick Hill just donated, and Patrick Hill just helped keep Brightside on the air. As I said before, without your donations, we couldn't stay on the air. It is the vast majority of our operating budget, especially YouTube. You know, our operating budget is basically your donations and YouTube ad revenues, and your donations were the majority of that anyway. But YouTube has started paying even less to ad revenues, less in ad revenues, and a lot of, like, especially with political stuff, like they're not putting ads on it, and a lot of political podcasters and YouTube people have been complaining lately about how much less their revenue is. So we really rely on your donations to stay on the air and cover things like this and the Donald Trump rallies and breaking news and all that stuff. So if you'd like to donate during the day, you can either donate in the chat room, click the $ below the chat room on YouTube, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, or go to www.patreon.com/rsbn, and at that Patreon site you can set up a monthly donation and get free stuff in return from Rightside, like hats and pens and mugs and all this kind of stuff. So you can check that out. All right, let's get back to the news. We have about 10 minutes until the polls close in France. 10 minutes. And when those polls close, we will be getting hard numbers in. And I have an update now about the shooting in Paris. Here's an update. Let me give you this. Let me get me out of there, sorry. Reports of several injured. Police won't say much about situation. Nothing confirmed so far. That's that shooting in Paris that we heard reports about. So as soon as I get more in here from different people I follow, I'll let you know. Also, Michael Tracy is reporting the estimated abstention rate in the French election is the highest since 1969. The highest since 1969. I saw an estimate for that 26% of the people would abstain. That's a lot. So that's a quarter of the people going in there and just handing in a blank ballot or not choosing to vote. And some reports said a number of people in France were dissatisfied with both the choices of candidate. So they're just going to go in and just fill out put in an empty ballot. Now, some of you sent me messages. Would love to hear more messages from you and read them on the air. Lori Ray writes in. Lori Ray says, if Le Pen prevails, it will be the beginning of an unstoppable movement that will end the EU. My hope is that it carries over and also marks the last days of the UN as well. So you are not a fan, Lori, of the EU or the UN. Thank you for writing in and giving your view, Lori. Other messages here. Andrew Sova writes in, I read it wrong. Sorry, Andrew. I keep hearing Russian WikiLeaks in the news, which is why I put on for Russian WikiLeaks, because I think it's a bunch of baloney. You've heard something about Russia WikiLeaks? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Andrew, so could you clarify that? Like, do you mean that you've heard that, like, supposedly... So, I see what you're saying, Andrew. I get what you're saying. Let me go back. Andrew, you're saying you hear people saying WikiLeaks is Russian in the news and it's controlled by Russia, and you think it's a bunch of baloney. Okay, sorry, Andrew. My brain. I was reading WikiLeaks, but I was thinking Wikipedia, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But my brain wasn't working, Andrew. So sorry. If you'd like to write in, feel free. I want to read your comments, hear what you think about what's going on today with this election, predictions, or any other thoughts you have. You can write me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Lookner. Feel free to follow me on Twitter as well. Or you can email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Hypercarry says, if donations go to keeping RSBN running, does that include paying your bills and feeding you guys, or do you have other incomes and jobs? No. Well, Hypercarry, there's very few people who work at Right Side. Right now, there's only 3 full-time people right now. Myself and Joe Seals, the founder, and Jake Seals, Joe's brother, who is also like the second founder, like after Joe, but you could call him a co-founder as well. That's it. And this is our full-time job. Like, we don't do anything else. And it's not like we lounge around and work for 3 hours. Like, we put 3 hours, then we just kind of hang out. No, like this is, I mean, I'm working right now, and this is my full-time job. This is what I do. I go into work every day, all day, and I work out of work, and I do it because I love it. I mean, I love working there. But yeah, it's this part of the expenses for Right Side is paying us salaries. So, because if I wasn't paid a salary, I couldn't work at Right Side. I'm not independendently wealthy. So, and I won't talk numbers, but believe me, the salaries are not like exorbitant amounts. But yes, yeah. I mean, so part of our expenses are paying for the internet, paying for the office, paying people. Well, taking money for our living expenses. Paying people, for example, when we cover a President Trump rally, we have to pay for a camera person. We'll pay Micah to go work because he's a regular person too and needs to get paid if he's going to go work. Renting the internet so whenever we cover President Trump rally, we have to pay for the internet there, and that can be several hundred or several $1,000s. There's all these, so lots of different expenses that you have to pay. Office equipment, we bought all the computers in our office, so all this stuff adds up, and that's what we pay for. I'm happy when we have more time at length. We're very transparent at Right Side, so happy if you want to write to us to give you a breakdown of all the money we spend. But that's the money we spend goes just to all the expenses we need just to keep the office running and keep the programming on the air for you. Can you make a donation by mail? Somebody wrote in. Yes, you can. If you go on to rsbn.tv, which is our webpage, and you go to contact us, you can find our snail mail address there. And feel free to write in. I was going to say the address to write in if you want to send me your questions, again, at Lookner on Twitter, or your comments, at Lookner on Twitter, or steve.lookner@rsbn.tv for email. And I'm already behind on your comments, so I'm trying to get to them. And 6 minutes, the polls close. P. Tudsbury writes in, apparently Twitter is censoring tweets about the French election. I hope you get this. Hold on, P. Tudsbury. Well, let me take 1 second here. You say apparently Twitter is censoring tweets about the French election. I haven't heard anything about that. That's not to say it's not true, but P. Tudsbury, you're saying you heard something about that. Raw CNC writes in, sends in 100 Swedish kroner and says, keep up the good work. 100 kroner is about $12 US, not 100. That's fine. It's really nice of you, Raw CNC. Very nice. I guess we have a couple people watching in Sweden. That's awesome. Welcome to people from Europe watching. I know we have viewers from around the world watch. I know we have viewers from England and from the Netherlands and from Norway and from other countries. So love to hear from you when you're watching from other countries. But thank you for the donation. Very nice of you. And from Raw CNC. And Living the Simple Life just sent in $2. Thank you, Living the Simple Life. Very kind and generous of you as well. That money will help us stay on the air and cover more events like this. Just I should say as a heads up, so we're going to be trying to cover more and more live events. You can see I'm in my apartment now, but we're working on get this. I now have a second computer in my apartment, and we're going to get like green screen and stuff. So the hope is to be able to cover even more like live breaking news and in a way that we haven't been able to before. I'll explain. I'll explain it all later when we have more time. But we're working on getting more and more coverage for you guys. That's what we're working on doing. The polls close in 4 minutes, by the way. SH7401 says, I'm sure a good chunk of donations go to paying those random internet costs at the rally, some cheaper and some $5,000. I don't know if one was $5,000, but a couple of weeks ago, we had a $2,000 internet bill because it's up to them. They kind of have a monopoly at the rallies, so it can cost money at the rallies to pay for the internet. All right, let me see. I want to check my Twitter feed here. Polls close in 3 minutes. Here's an update about the shooting. Here's an update about the Paris shooting. Police say no shooting, but fight between some men, 3 injured with knife injuries. So there was a fight and not a shooting. This is a report from Breaking News Twitter feed, so scratch that about the shooting. As they said, they weren't sure. Martin Paulson gives 20 Swedish kroner. Howdy, right side. Howdy, Martin Paulson. Thank you. You are Martin Paulson, our third donation from Sweden today. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Martin, for donating and helping Right Side broadcast. Very kind of you. Only 3 minutes until the polls close. So let's see. Okay, I'm seeing this tweet. I'm seeing a tweet that says exit poll with Macron, it was 65% and Le Pen with 35%. I just saw that tweet from Breaking News Live. Not official, of course. It's an exit poll. I don't know where they're getting this. And so that's an exit poll I saw. We'll know more soon. Stingray11 just gave $10. Thank you, Stingray11. Very kind of you. We appreciate your generosity. We appreciate you helping us stay on the air to cover stuff. So thank you, Stingray11. Less than 2 minutes until the polls close. Abstentions are around 25%, by the way. We keep hearing that. Abstentions, people going in and voting and then handing in an empty ballot or something, 25%. As the polls close and we get numbers in, we'd love to keep hearing from you, hearing your comments on things. Write to me at @Lookner on Twitter, @LOOKNER, or email me, steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Francis Purcell writes in, what is RSBN's projection for the current French election? I have no personal projection. I mean, all I can tell you is that, the polls leading up to the election were around 60-40 for Macron. So unless maybe things will change. So that's really all I can intelligently say. I'm in here, not France. So my finger is not really on the pulse of the French voters. So I don't want to say, if I was giving you a projection, it would just be something I'm making up. Let's see here. Thank you, Francis, for writing in. Vigard just sent us $200 of Norwegian currency and said, screw Sweden, Norway rocks. Thank you so much, Vigard. What is the Norwegian currency? Norwegian currency. Norwegian krona. So you sent us Norwegian krona. Thank you, Vigard. Very nice of you. Thank you. It's 2 p.m. It's 2 p.m. The polls are officially closed in France. Oh, a non-person gave us $10. Thank you, Anon. Just as the polls closed, a non-person gave us $10. Thank you. Really appreciate it. The polls have just closed in France. The polls are closed. It's time to get the results. We're going to be watching them for you right here. So I'm going to look at a couple pages. If you find a page with like really good up-to-date results, I would love if you either email me or you can email me, or you can give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner. I have a New York Times page here. I have a Google page. If you see another one that's good, I have this other page from France TV page. None of them is actually reporting results yet. So if we're going to cover this and we're going to get the results coming in, and if you can find a different page aside from what I have that's showing even more up-to-date results, give me a shout and maybe I'll put it up here. So I'm trying to get you the results as fast as possible. I keep moving over to the side. Oh, I know what's happening. I'm not to the side. My webcam is... Here we go. Oh, that's better. That's better. Okay, polls are closed. Let's get some numbers in, shall we? Let's see what happens. So it's not just important who wins, it's important what the vote actually is. And I, like you, I'm looking for numbers. All right, here is from BNO News. From BNO News, here's a prediction or a projection they have. I'm going to show you this right now. I think it's going to make some of you unhappy, but I am showing it to you anyway. Here is a post from BNO News. From BNO News says, that's according to BNO News, they say liberal centrist Emmanuel Macron wins French presidential election with about 65% of the vote. That is a projection. That's from BNO News. It's a projection. It's not the actual vote. Let's see what actually happens with the vote. But that is at least one tweet I wanted to let you see. Let's keep going, shall we? See if there is more information. I'm seeing Richard Engel also says French projection, so a Macron victory over France. And we are seeing on France 24, I'm seeing people in some kind of Macron rally celebrating. So it seems like the French media is projecting that Macron will win. So that we've no votes in so far officially, but these are what's happening so far. These are the numbers. I'm just seeing lots of projections for Macron wins. These are the first polls coming in. Let's see what the numbers are. I'm seeing some boos in our chat room. Heart of Dixie says boo. Bernard Smith says France is screwed. They'll win says bye France, good knowing you. Let's see what else we have. R.I.P. Van says fake news. Vegan Soldier says R.I.P. France. So a lot of you in the chat room are not happy with this news. Miss Tree says very sad. Hoarder Lock says R.I.P. France. Who Man says R.I.P. France. Yeah, so the opinion of our chat room, I'd say, is heavily not happy with this news, but we'll watch the votes and see when they come in. How come I'm not showing the updated polls? Well, Andrew, what are you talking about? I just showed you I have a projection on the air right now. Sightless Seer said, did you get enough rest, Steve? You seem a little bit jittery and scattered, unfocused today. It's unusual for you. Yeah, I got enough rest. Sightless Seer, there's just kind of a lot going on, so I'm keeping my eye on the Twitter and on the chat room and on your comments and on the stream, so apologize if it's a little scattered. It's just I'm trying to watch a bunch of things at once. Yeah, Mitch Hall says Google has projection with Macron by 65%. Thank you, Mitch. I'll check that out right now. Thank you, Mitch Hall. Okay, let me get that Google projection up on the screen, and we'll watch when the votes come in, but this is the Google projection. There is the Google projection on your screen right now. I'm going up there. So, Google is projecting Macron with 65.5%, Le Pen with 34.5%. If this holds, I don't think the result itself is surprising, and it's not so different from the polls, but I would say I think probably Le Pen was hoping to do a little better. I mean, this is way better than her dad did in 2002 when I think he was the last National Front candidate in a final runoff, and he got like 18%. So it's a big improvement, but I think they were looking to do 40% or over. 13th Colony says, settle down, you're about to hyperventilate. I'm not hyperventilating, but thank you for worrying about me, 13th Colony. Let's see here. Navy Thomas 8 says, how do we know we can trust your poll results reports? Well, I'm not telling you to trust them anymore. They're not my reports. Basically, I'll give you poll results and reports and tell you where they're coming from. And it's up to you whether to trust them or not. Here at Right Side, we don't tell you what to think. We just try to give you the information. So this is a Google poll we have up on the screen right now. I'm waiting to get some actual votes in here. I'm scanning my Twitter and I'm just seeing a lot of similar reports about the projections about the vote. Oh, Andrew, yeah, sorry about, you said you wrote that message a long time ago. I just got it here, so I might have gotten I might be delayed in getting your messages, Andrew. Thanks for writing in. Okay, so we are here. We're covering the French election. We don't have actual votes in. All we have are these projections. And the projections coming out right now say that Macron will win with around 65%. We're waiting to get some harder numbers in. Diane Birch writes in, thanks for this live coverage. And she says, Steve, I was wondering if you could point out to RSBN regulars, including those in the chat room, that Brandon made the statement at the end of Nick's show, America's First. I changed my mind. I will produce Nick's show from home as long as it does not cost RSBN. Let's see. And all right, so apparently, all right, so Diane, I'll look into this. Apparently there was some comment made by the RSBN by RSBN in the chat at Nick's show saying, I changed my mind. I'll produce this from home. I will look into that. I hadn't heard that, but I'll look into it. I'll actually forward it right now to a couple other people just so they can be aware of it. Thank you, Diane, for writing in. We'll look into it. We'll figure it out. Yeah, and basically, just so you know, right now, Wayne's show and Nick's show are off the air. We're taking a couple weeks off of original programming, but original programming in terms of shows not produced from our studio. We're still producing shows from our studio and shows like this. But we're trying to figure out a longer-term plan right now, so we will get back to you on that soon in terms of in terms of shows not originating from our studio. So don't think they're necessarily totally going away yet. Robo-Libertarian writes, Le Pen, he thinks or she thinks is going to win 52-48. Polls are lies. No to the Mark writes in, Google had 8 years of unfettered White House access over Barack Obama's 8 years. Hashtag rigged. Thank you, No to the Mark, for writing in. No to the Mark also says, we now know that they can make things look like the Russians hacked something, so why believe anything at this point? Okay, No to the Mark, you sound skeptical of the projections. Thank you, No to the Mark. Mitch Hall says, BBC says Macron wins. Grant says, you should go to church, pray more, and prognosticate less. Was I prognosticating? Oh, you mean about what's going to happen in the election? Hey, I'm just passing on the I'm just passing on the polls. I'm not saying this is Steve's projection. I'm saying this is what the projections I'm hearing. I want you guys to hear the latest updates. You can decide whether to believe things or not. So Janks writes in, hey, Lookner, check out this tweet from Piers Morgan who's saying Emmanuel Macron is now president of France. Why are people saying it's official already? So I think it's the same as like when we have an election here in America and they project, somebody to win. People will start reporting that person wins even though the votes aren't counted. It's similar like that. So some people would say, well, you shouldn't say they win until they counted the votes. I want to see the votes come in. I always think it's good to see the votes come in. So I'm going to my various sites and I'll give you the actual votes when I get them. But like here, they do exit polling there and they put some stock into them. Let's see here. You're asking Sightless Seer writes in, and asks about the implications of this election. Well, a couple of things. If Macron wins, if these projections hold Macron wins, you will have a more pro-Europe, pro-integration France than you would have had with Le Pen. You will have a more open to immigration France than you would have had if Le Pen won. you will have, if Macron wins, maybe some more lessening of taking away of some of the French regulations on the economy than you would have had if Le Pen wins. So those are some of the implications. Less protectionism in the economy also than you would have had if Le Pen wins. So those are some of the major differences between Macron and Le Pen that you might see if the numbers hold and Le Pen wins. Sorry, and Macron wins instead of Le Pen. I'm sorry. Let me just make sure I'm caught up on your comment. UK Beast sent me a story that says Emmanuel Macron will win 60% of the vote. I'd like to get some hard numbers, so if you see anybody showing hard numbers, feel free to give me a shout. I am looking at different sites trying to get actual vote totals. Yes, the BBC is reporting that Macron will win as well. I just had a thought, which is in a month, France is doing their legislative elections, which are important there. It's like their Congress. Maybe we'll cover that live too. Maybe we'll do that too. I'll put it on my to-do list of things to cover. Let's see. No to the mark. You said the Democrats were never supposed to lose another election. And let's see here. I'll have to read this tweet you sent me later. No to the mark. Thank you for writing in. Okay, we're covering the French elections here. This is Right Side Broadcasting. I am Steve Lookner. We're covering the elections. I'm showing you a Google projection of the election right now on the screen, waiting for some actual numbers to come in to show them to you. And we're on the air. We're Right Side. We bring you live coverage of various political events. Thank you. A bunch of you had sent us donations before. Really appreciate it. Your donations keep us on the air. They let us cover events like this. They let us cover the President Trump rallies, where we go and we talk to everybody in the crowd, and we show all the speeches, not just part of one speech. So if you enjoy our coverage of these events and you want to see more of it, please consider donating, because your donations, they really do keep us on the air. We rely on your donations to stay on the air. You can donate at rsbn.tv/donate, or you can donate by clicking the $sign in the chat room on YouTube. And also, feel free to write in. We're taking your comments here about this. We'd like to know what you're thinking about what's going on in France today. Write me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Navy Thomas is saying CBS News now reporting that Macron wins by 30%. I think everybody is has the same projections at this point. We'll see if they actually hold in terms of the actual vote. Robo-Libertarian says Le Pen has conceded. Le Pen has conceded. I think you're right. Well, hold on a second. I'm going to show you if I can pull it up here. Let's see if I can get a little screen grab of this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you a still shot of Le Pen, who is conceding, I believe, right now. Let me show you that. That is a shot. I just screen grabbed that off of France 24. That's Le Pen, who is speaking right now at the moment, or she just spoke. So, and I was told by one of our viewers that she conceded. I wasn't listening to it, but Robo-Libertarian was saying she conceded. Dan Canepa donates 50 euros and says, let's see how the next 4 years go. It will be at least that long before I visit the Paris combat zone again. Thank you, Dan. Very much appreciate your donation. And you say, let's see how the next 4 years go. We'll see. Also, just a heads up, France does have legislative elections coming up in the next in June, and the National Front. I know for those of you who are upset about Le Pen losing the election, the National Front is looking to pick up seats in that election. So we'll see how they do. No to the Mark says, you say, this is your view, I'll read it. You say, no to the Mark, our gay former POTUS visited Manny Macron for a community organizer download, France is forever gone. Now, I will say, just to be clear, I am not aware of President Obama being gay, but I will read your comments when you send them in because I want to have you be able to say your views. So, but no to the Mark, you think France is forever gone. Deploribus Infidels says, your show should be on Fox instead of the garbage they just put up. I haven't been watching Fox today, Deploribus Infidelis, but if you're liking our program, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Jank says, it seems that like the 25%, seems that around 25% handed in blank ballots said either candidates France still loses, and 25% is more than Leppenfather votes. I'm not sure what that means, Leppenfather votes. But yeah, I heard the abstention rate was around 25% from Janks. I agree. I heard that. Don John T says he is waiting for Trump's comments on Macron. Will we see any comments from President Trump today on Macron? Don't know. I keep saying Macron and Macron. I don't know which one it is. I had written it down before and I forget. I will say Macron for now. But yeah, I don't know if we will hear comments from President Trump today on Macron. If not, I'm sure we'll hear them tomorrow. Maybe who will call him today. I would be surprised, actually, if today or tomorrow President Trump didn't call Macron. Andrew Sober writes in, just curious if you knew the University of Atlanta will give free tuition to illegals. I saw other universities across USA will do the same. If you can go over this on another occasion, I'll look into it, Andrew. Yeah, I will look into it. Thank you, God, for Trump writes in, the people of France are a beaten down bunch. If open borders and Islamic invasion and globalist governance doesn't make you go to the polls and mark Le Pen, then don't come to us Americans for help when the Eiffel Tower is converted into a mosque. Pray to Jesus, pray for Trump, and keep your guns close by. That is from Thank You, God, for Trump. See if there's any numbers here yet, actual numbers. I'm continuing to get those same projections in. I'm looking to get more actual numbers in. Hold on one sec here. So those are the same projections we've been seeing for a while. But looking for actual numbers. Let me check the news real quick and see if there's anything new. French President-elect Macron said, a hopeful and confident new chapter for France begins. That is from French President-elect Macron, or supposedly President-elect. If the actual votes, agree with the projections. I am looking here. Le Pen, in her speech, according to Richard Engel, said she wishes Macron success. She congratulated him. Her speech was short, says Engel. Le Pen also said France has voted for continuity. And Janks writes in, Le Pen's father got 18% of the votes, and 25% is more than, the 25% abstentions is more than he got. I'm checking the news again here. Let's see. No. Okay, again, just to repeat, this is Right Side Broadcasting. We are covering the French election. A bunch of projections have said that Macron will beat Le Pen with around 65% of the vote. We're waiting for the actual vote count. Le Pen has conceded in France. We're continuing to bring you the news from France, and also we're going to bring you some hard numbers when we get them in, but I am not seeing any yet. Also, we're also reading your comments on the air, so if you'd like to write in, give me a shout at Lookner on Twitter, at LOOKNER, or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Speaking of which, Sandy Bow writes in that Breitbart congratulated Macron. Let's see here. I don't, Sandy, I have the page from Breitbart, but I don't see them congratulating Macron. They're just saying that they're projecting him the winner. Thanks, Sandy, for writing in. Raj Rain writes in, just a reminder that in the first round, exit polls predicted Macron 23, Le Pen 21, which was very close to the actual results. So you think, Raj, these exit polls will be accurate? Deplorabilis Infidelis writes in, speech ? More like good luck. I think you're referring to something, Deplorabilis Infidelis, but I'm not sure what you're referring to. So feel free to clarify. I think you're referring to something we talked about before, or something you wrote before when you say speech. Let's see here. I'm just looking for some more news or hard numbers here. If you find any site actually showing actual votes, let me know. I'm searching the ones I have. John Doe 777 just gave us $50. Thank you very much, John Doe. That's really appreciated. That'll help. That helps us keep on the air, helps us stay on the air, helps us cover breaking news, helps us cover the Trump rallies. So that's really kind of you. Thank you so much to John Doe 777. Yvonne Romano writes in, I don't believe that 25% of the voters wasted their time by going to the polls and leaving the ballot blank. Let's be honest, Le Pen had her vote stolen. So Yvonne, you are not confident in the way the election was run in France. Thank you, Yvonne, for writing in. I have heard no reports of any funny business there in terms of today. Paul Joseph Watson sent out that tweet, which we talked about earlier. But if I hear any reports on the media, new reports of that, I will let you know. Oh, Deplorabilis Infidelis says, terrorism, criminals, all the good stuff. Oh, she's talking about the concession speech. So it sounds like you're saying that's what you think France has to anticipate after this election in the next few years. No to the Mark says, according to my U.S. Marine Corps husband, France's nuclear arsenal is soon to be taken over by Merkel's Germany. Now, they have no nuclear weapons, and I don't believe, I want to say they're not allowed to, but I don't know if that's an international agreement. I know that after World War II, given that Germany was the home of the Nazi Party and Hitler in World War II, that's a reason they didn't get nuclear weapons. So they have not had them since. But I don't know what the actual... I need to look up, is that, something Germany has taken upon themselves at this point? Or is there some agreement they signed? Don't know. I need to look that up. You sent me a link, Trump Train. Trump Train, I think I have... Oh, Trump Train just sent me a place I could get some up-to-date votes. And I think they might be actually up-to-date real votes and not projections. Let's see. I'm seeing some partial results. Let me see if I can capture this. Let me see if I can screen grab this. I'm just getting this results thing up here. Let me move me out of the way. So those are some numbers from France 24. And according to those numbers, it says 50%, 2% of local authorities counted. And I can't tell why it has two sets of numbers, but it looks like around 65 to 34 or something like that. Navy Thomas says Vichy France is still alive. Guns cheap in France only dropped 3 times. World War I, World War II, and today. Zhang says, I think 25% showed up to make a point, kind of like Sanders supporters in the USA. Oh, an interesting tweet here from, this is an interesting tweet from Leave EU, which is I think the official site of the Brexit. Let me show you their tweet that they sent out today. That's a tweet from Leave EU, which is the official site of the Brexit, from what I understand, and they a Brexit movement, and they said R.I.P. France. That's what Leave EU said. I'll see if I can find some other interesting tweets here. And also try to get you some more numbers, if I can. Here are some more numbers. Come on. Hold on one sec, folks. Here we go. Thank you for your patience while I get some more numbers here. That's with 56% of communes reporting. Emmanuel Macron at 59 and Marine Le Pen at 40. Now, if it's like the last election, the cities might report later. In the last election 2 weeks ago, the cities reported later. So I'm thinking in the cities, Le Pen would probably do a little worse and Macron better. So that, if that's the case, then the lead might be more than what's showing on your screen right now. We'll keep an eye on it, though. Noted the Mark says Germany didn't get the same peace terms that Japan got. Germany has a standing army able to perform operations outside of their border. Deploribus Infidelis writes, terrorists go to soft targets. Everyone join the NRA and stop the infection from getting worse here. Yes, the urban areas have not been counted yet in France. So there's a 19-point lead for right now for Macron, but it looks like it might be bigger when the urban areas are counted. Tom Sapola writes, Macron wins. Well, the projections have Macron winning, Tom. Yes. Navy Thomas sent me a tweet that quoted French President Francois Hollande saying Emmanuel Macron's victory shows majority of French people wish to unite around the values of the Republic. That's what President Hollande said. I'm going to also change. See if I can do this. I was going to try to update this real quick. Bear with me. That's odd. Sorry, I was trying to do something here. It wasn't really working very well. Let's try this real quick. Okay, we are here, Right Side Broadcasting. We are covering the French election. Projections have Macron winning. Projections have him winning by 65 to 35. But we are actually covering the vote count here and updating it for you as we get more votes in. I have another update for you, so let me update that. Oops, that was a terrible screen capture. Let me move me out of the way there. With 62% in, we have 59.2 to 40.8. Macron over Le Pen. Don John T says, although many of us don't like Macron, remember France is a democracy. We have to respect the result. Let's not behave like the left. Thank you, Don John T, for writing in. Michael, you sent me a tweet from Fox News saying earlier today President Trump once again assailed the fake media and the Democrats. Oh, President Trump sent out a tweet before that said, when will the fake media ask about the Democrats' dealings with Russia and why the DNC wouldn't allow the FBI to check their server or investigate? That was sent out by President Trump before. Janks writes in, Macron intends to have his victory party at the Louvre, which had to be evacuated today due to a bomb threat. Brave or foolish? Well, I would think he's only going to have it there if the security has checked it out. I don't think he'd have it there if he thought there was a serious risk. Tom Sapola says, anyone know if there's a provision in France to challenge for a challenge to results? Tom, I have no idea. It would probably be tough to challenge if the margin stays like it is now, however, because it's such a big margin right now. Just looking for more updates here. Navy Thomas sent me a tweet from Sky News that says European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker says Emmanuel Macron's victory shows French voters have chosen a European future. No to the Mark writes in, world elite working fallen angels, Republicans not paying by any rule book. You say R, I think that's Republicans. If BHO could steal 08 and 012, did he just show his power in France? Let me see if there's some more numbers here. Numbers have been updated. They're counting the votes pretty fast, it seems. Let me throw that updated number up. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. So we have 66% of the communes reporting that. I don't believe that's the urban areas, but that's the vote right now is 59-41 Macron over Le Pen. So, and one thing to note about Macron, he's never held elected office before. So this is quite a victory for him in the sense of he only decided about a year ago I think it was a year ago he decided he was going to run. The party on the move that he leads was formed a year ago, and when he first started running, no one was really paying attention to him. But he has won the election in France. And I will say this, there is this commentary out there that says, well, if Le Pen didn't win, that means like the kind of movement that might have brought Trump in isn't so strong anymore or isn't strong in France. But the thing is, granted Le Pen didn't win, but you have to remember Macron is an outsider too. So in France, the two parties this is the first election, I think, in 60 or 70 years in France where neither the Socialists nor the Republicans have been in the election. They're the two established parties, and usually one of those candidates from one of those parties is always in the final runoff. So this vote in France is really between two outsiders, and you have one outsider beating the other, but he is an outsider. He's not from one of the established parties. His party got formed a year ago. So I do think this election is a statement in France that they weren't happy with the establishment. Now, maybe it also says something that they chose Macron and not Le Pen, but at the same time, they did not choose an establishment figure. So I would certainly not say this election shows that the kind of movement that brought President Trump into office here doesn't hold at all in France. It's I want to say it's like a sign of upheaval there. I mean, it's very different, this kind of result there, from what the results in their previous elections for the last 50, 60 years. It's an outsider. It's not someone from one of the established parties. So I don't think it's him winning over Le Pen would be such evidence that that a movement towards outsiders is slowing down. If anything, it shows it's going strong. That's a little thought I have. I'm going to see if I can find here. Let me just get some more numbers for you. Yvonne Romano says, I hope the Le Pen voters do something drastic, insist that voter fraud be investigated and or push for some kind of secession. We have another comment here from Sean C. What website are you using to stream right now? I am using the program XSplit to stream to YouTube. So the program XSplit is what I'm using. DJT's a winner, writes, if the French people elect Macron, they deserve everything they get from the Muslim invasion. Navy Thomas showed me that Nigel Farage tweeted, Emmanuel Macron offers 5 more years of failure, power to the EU, and open borders. If MLP official sticks in there, she can win in 2022. I'll actually post that. That's an interesting tweet. I'll let you folks at home see that. Sorry. That's this tweet from Nigel Farage that I just read. That's what Nigel Farage thinks. So I guess is it 5 years that the French president gets to be in office? French president, 5 years. Let's see. President and the Assembly both have 5-year terms in France. Joey MP, some pushback on my comment before. Joey MP says Macron is not an outsider. He belonged to the Socialist Party for many years and was supported by the entire establishment. The globalists that control him knew it was a good idea for him to pretend like he was an outsider. So you're saying, it seems to be saying you're saying you don't think he's an outsider, Joey MP. But you're also saying he might have portrayed himself as an outsider. And my point was more that I think a lot of people, by voting for him, felt that they were voting for somebody different. And a lot of people do want change. And I think it is significant that people didn't want one of the established parties. But your point, I understand your point, Joey. So I appreciate you fighting back on my claim a little bit. Always happy to hear your thoughts. Connor, you sent me a poll saying where all the eliminated candidate supporters went in the second round. That's an interesting. I'm going to throw that up there. Who sent me this again? This was from Connor Wells. Let me show this. This is interesting. Connor Wells sent me a shot of a poll where the first round candidates' votes went in the second round. Oops. Let me remove myself from this. So, oops. I gotta screen capture that again. That was an awful screen capture. Let me get you a better screen capture of that. So this is where, according to Connor Wells, the votes of people in the first round went in the second round. So you can see that, for example, 98% of Macron voters voted for him in the second round. 93% of Le Pen's first round voters voted for him in the second round. I don't know anything about Nicolas Dupont-Aignan. I think he might be the right-wing candidate. Fillon was the Republican candidate. He was establishment candidate, and 48% of his voters went for Macron and 21% for Le Pen. And Hamon was a socialist candidate. 79% of his voters went to Macron and 4% for Le Pen. And Mélenchon, who is the left-wing candidate endorsed by the communists, 53% of his votes went to Macron and 11% to Le Pen. I have some more numbers for you. The votes keep getting counted. Let me show you them. So that's right now we have 71% of the communes reporting, 59.2 to 40.8. I believe the urban areas are still out. UK Beast sent me a post from Sky News that said there's some celebrations begin in Paris as Macron wins the presidency. Convoys of cars proceed down the Champs-Élysées. Igor writes in, Nicolas Dupont-Aignan supported Le Pen. He's also anti-EU, but more mainstream. Thank you. And she said she'd make him prime minister if she won. Thank you for that clarification, Igor. Igor also says Hollande is the big winner. He was the most hated president in forever, yet elected a successor. Remember, he was supporting Macron, not Hamon. Now, I don't know if he's such a big winner in the sense of he didn't run because his popularity was really low. But you're saying today he's a winner, and that's what you're saying, Igor. Tom Cipolla says, we here in the U.S. are with you. Stay strong. It's the long game that matters. 2022. So he's saying that to Marine Le Pen. French President Hollande says he has called Emmanuel Macron to warmly congratulate him on his victory in the presidential race. Ukraine's president has congratulated Macron. Nothing yet about the White House. We'll see if President Trump calls Macron soon, and we have any word about that. Jenks writes in, think the left media will say this? Looks like Macron won the election. This is obviously due to sexism and Le Pen being a woman. So, Jenks is pointing out how some people say that Hillary lost because she was a woman. And will they be saying the same thing about Le Pen? Navy Thomas says I can call him NT8. I'll see if I can remember that NT8. The Associated Press, Navy Thomas, NT8 sent me this tweet. Associated Press tweeted out, many French voters backed Macron reluctantly, not because they agree with his politics, but to keep out Le Pen. So there seemed to be a real divide about Le Pen in France. Some people really wanted her. Some people did not want her. People seem to have strong feelings about this. I have some updated numbers for you, which I can show you. Manly Texan, gear, guns, man stuff, nature, etc. just donated $2 and said, Deus Vult, time, France, wake up. Thank you, Manly Texan, for the donation. Much appreciated. Your donations allow us to stay on the air, to cover breaking news, to cover the Trump rallies, to do our Sean Spicer pre and post shows, to do everything we do. And so that's really nice of you to donate. Thank you. Thanks again to all the moderators for moderating today. I know it's been a busy chat room day today, a lot of people in the chat. So moderators doing a great job, JC and Frank and Dixie. And I know I've seen other people in there today moderating, so thank you all. Mrs. John Johnson. Appreciate the moderation. Seeing a bunch of comments in the chat room. A lot of people are not happy with the result today. Ian M says, France, you had one job. And let's see if I can get you more numbers. Nope, numbers up to date so far. We're going to be on a little longer here. If you'd like to write in, share your comments. Happy to read them. At Lookner on Twitter, at LOOKNER. Or email me, steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. They are showing on France 24 now at the Louvre people like celebrating and holding up flags. I guess that's where a Macron celebration is going to be. There were Associated Press says there were a record number of blank and spoiled ballots today. So that's a lot. Like I guess a quarter of the people went to vote and like turned in like a blank ballot or a spoiled ballot. Like imagine if that happened in America. Imagine if a quarter of the people who voted, a quarter, turned in like no ballot or a ballot with nothing checked off. That's a large number of people. That's a really large number of people. Updated numbers. Oops. Those are the updated numbers. 76% of communes reporting. I'm checking out the chat room. RIP Van says 25% of people need to be re-educated. Real Frank says that's a waste of paper when you turn in the blank ballots. Save the trees. Yes, Ernie, Le Pen did concede. I'm sorry. She did not secede, she conceded. All right, we will be on for a few more minutes here with our coverage of the French election. I'm Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. I hope you've enjoyed. Sorry, I'm yawning. Not because I'm bored. Maybe because I went to bed late last night because I was up doing some work. And but it's been fun for us to cover this, and we try to cover lots of breaking news for you guys, and we want to cover as much as possible. So. We will keep covering it for you. And as I think about it more, I think we might be for a niche audience, but I think I'm going to try to cover the French legislative elections in a month. And what else is coming up that we're going to cover? Well, we're definitely covering, all the Sean Spicer briefings, and we cover all the President Trump rallies. But we'll be covering more breaking news as time goes on too. Updated numbers. I am peeking at the chat room again to see what is being said there. Herd says puking now. Dan says France is done. Jeff Moses says you don't want to visit France anymore. A teachable woman says cover the election in Georgia. Oh, the Ossoff-Handel election. When is that election? Teachable woman. That's a good idea. When is that election? When is the Georgia special election? June 20th, 2017. Maybe we will cover that election. That's a good idea. That's in about a month and a half. Thanks, Tech Warriors. Yeah, I just looked up when the election is. That's a good idea to cover that. Miss Tree says good idea as well. A teachable woman, you say May 20th, but I'm seeing this as a special election will be held on June 20th. That's according to Wikipedia. Mark Bain says anything over 40% is a massive win for Le Pen. So I do think if she got over 40%, that would be like a good showing for her. I don't know right now if she'll get over 40% because the numbers didn't have her at 40.7%, but the cities are starting to come in, and she's not going to do as well in the cities. Navy NT8 wants me to show the map, which I'll show in a second. Jank says, thanks. It's nice to get a feed without bias in the news itself. You are welcome. Janks, we try to not be biased here. All right, let me see if I can show you this map. Hold on. How do I do this? I want to shrink things a little bit. Okay, I'm going to show you a map now. Here we go. Be a little small, but people have been asking for a map, so I'll show you a map. Remove me. So there is a map. You can see Le Pen is in yellow and Macron is in blue. That's a New York Times map. But I know it's a little small on your screen, but that's kind of the best I can do right now. And look, with 78% of the communes reporting, we have Macron at 59.5%, Marine Le Pen at 40.5%. Bobby Johnson says France will never learn. AVR says I don't think she'll get even 40%. Too many cucks. Jeff Pritt says let's give France Obama. Robbie Ripley says, these are the exit polls, not the real polls. That's what happened with Trump's election. Well, Robbie, the map on the screen right now, actually, those are real numbers. We had exit polls before, and these real numbers have Macron at 59.5 and Le Pen at 40.5, with 78% of the communes reporting. I'll get me back up here somewhere. I'll go over there. Here we go. Okay, we'll stay on a few more minutes here. But, hold on. This is Yuvraj Rain says, if you want to become the next French president, then just become a citizen, learn French, campaign a bit, and you're in the second round with Le Pen while everyone endorses you. That's from Yuvraj Rain. So we're going to be on here for a few more minutes here, and I want to thank you all for watching so far, and thank you for donating. The people who donated, very much appreciated. Thank you to the moderators for moderating. Thank you to Jake for producing. If you would like to donate, once again, we really appreciate it because that lets us stay on the air and cover the news. rsbn.tv/donate, or you can click on the $ in the chat room on YouTube. The $ at the bottom of the chat room makes it that you can donate that way. Or if you want to make a recurring donation per month and get like free stuff from Right Side in return, you can go to www.patreon.com/rsbn and find out what you can get for free, like goodies like mugs and hats and this kind of stuff from Right Side and other stuff. Jake gave a concert yesterday for Patreon donors, so you can check that out there. Also, feel free to follow Right Side Broadcasting on Twitter at RSB Network, and also subscribe to Right Side on YouTube if you want to hear about the latest videos. And when you subscribe, make sure you click the notifications bell so you get all the notifications about our videos when they go on the air. Hoarder Lock wants us to cover Brazil's election in 2018. We'll keep an eye out for that. I don't think we're planning that far in advance, but we will keep an eye out for it. I do promise if stuff goes down in Venezuela, we will cover that. Here is a tweet about some demonstrators gathering in Paris. Let me show that to you. Let's see. What did I want to do? That. French. Get rid of me. A huge group of demonstrators are gathering in Paris after Macron's victory, with a picture. That's from Breaking News. Looking at the chat room, Emperor Corning says, R.I.P. France. True Warrior says, French people are stupid. Democratic says, boycott the EU. Minsky says, Europe heading for civil wars. Let's see here. Let me see if I can get you some more numbers, some more up-to-date numbers. What is that? Here's that. So that's the latest numbers. 80% of communes reporting. Macron is at 59.8%. Le Pen is at 40.2%. NT8 says she was a lot bigger in the north and Paris has not reported yet. Yeah, the cities report late, so I'm assuming Le Pen's numbers will go down a bit from this. Robbie says, update the map. I just saw some yellow popping through. I just updated, Robbie. I just posted the latest numbers. Andrew says, whenever RSBN starts doing shows again, please check out the Red Pill Philosophy channel. He would be great for the RSBN team. I will check it out. Andrew. Okay, well, I think at this point we're about ready to wrap up coverage here of our coverage of the French election. I'll give a minute in case people want to write some stuff. I'm going to check in the chat room and see people there. Thanks for everybody for watching today. Thank you for all your comments and your questions and your links that you sent of news stuff that I could post. Very much appreciated. And your donations, of course. Your donations are very much appreciated. Thank you, Heart of Dixie. Heart of Dixie says RSBN rocks. Oh, I got a text from Joe. That makes more sense. Yes, so a little clarification on the statement during Nick's show at the end. That was actually Joe who made that statement. And basically what Joe was saying about the original programming is nothing, by original programming, I don't mean all, I mean like the stuff that's shot outside the studio. Nothing set in stone at this time. So the next couple of weeks, Wayne Dupree and Nick Fuentes will not be on. But nothing is set in stone about the long term of shows, those shows and shows like that. We're figuring it out right now. So that's what Joe was trying to convey when he made that statement, just to clarify. We'll let you know as soon as we know. Harolyn says, thanks for your hard work. I appreciate it, Harolyn. Thank you for watching. Oh, by the way, so I think we're going to go off the air soon. But if you would like link, I'm going to post link to map. I could have done this before. I just posted a link to the map and results, so you can see that. Thank you, Dixie. Thank you, Susan Reynolds, for saying thanks. Thanks, Herd173, for your thanks. Thank you, Rocky Mike, for saying thanks. Thank you, William Geary. Let me just... Robbie, I'm staying on for a couple minutes, but Robbie, I don't believe that Le Pen is going to catch up. It sounds like I think you're hoping for a closer election, but from what I'm hearing, the urban areas are the ones still out, and those are going to go more for Macron. So best I can tell, the margin will widen rather than shrink. Thanks, NT8, for saying thanks. Appreciate it. Zhank says, any plans to cover the new healthcare bill? Well, we have been covering that. So we did a live coverage during the House vote, and so we all the way through that with the healthcare bill. We'll be covering more of that on more of that on RSBN definitely. Zhank. Let me catch up here in the chat room. A bunch of comments. Let me catch up. Ian, you're welcome for the coverage. Deanne Ritter, you're welcome. Metro says, nice try. Ty, thank you, Metro. I wore my red, white, and blue for the French election. Dan P., you are welcome. Harder Lock, you are welcome. Jacqueline O., you are welcome. Real Frank, you're welcome. Sean, you are welcome. Teachable Woman, thank you. You're welcome, and thanks for the good suggestion about the Ossoff election in June. Emperor Corning, you're welcome. Martin Paulson, you're welcome. LJ Jackson, you're welcome. Can I lift my tie up? Oh, so you can see it. There's my tie. Here's the tie. That was a request for Metro. See you, Soul of the West. Charlie Rod, you are welcome. Wendy Jones says, that was fun anyway. You're welcome. Mark Bain, thanks so much. John Doe wants me to turn this into a fundraiser and stay on extra. Yeah, but so John, I like the idea in theory, but then it's just like I'm sitting here talking, and it's on the one hand I like it, but on the other hand I don't want to be asking you guys for donations. We ask you all the time, so for now, I think the coverage it's reached its natural kind of ending point. We covered the election. Celestial Navigator, I'm not from New York, I'm from Boston. Eric Harris, you are welcome. Thank you, Ruth Jensen. Thank you, Forgotten Man. Oh no, I skipped some over. Where was I? Thank you, Ket King. Thank you, Tobias. Thank you, Tech Warriors. Susan Reynolds says Scottish tie. Thanks, John Lucid. Oops. Thank you, Eric Harris. Thank you, Triuida, for watching in Sweden. Thanks, Ket King, again. Oh, John Doe just gave $20. That's very John Doe 777. That's very nice of you, John. I think you might have given John Doe 777 a donation earlier. That's really cool of you. Thank you so much. Helps us stay on the air. Very much appreciated. I do not know what kind of plaid my tie is. Robo Libertarian says, Thank you to the shout-outs for the shout-outs on the broadcast. You're welcome. Nice to see right-leaning news not flooded with conspiracies. Well, we're just trying to report the news here. But again, when you guys make comments, we're also happy to read them. So glad you enjoyed it, Robo-Libertarian. Let me just get you one more set of numbers before we go off the air. And, oh, well, this is probably inappropriate. It looks like Marine Le Pen has dropped below 40%. I will get that up in the air right now. Hold on. There's the latest numbers with 84% of the communes reporting. Macron's at 60.3. Le Pen is at 39.7. Let me do one last Twitter check. And to answer some questions, I think Celestial Navigator says, would a $100 donation be accepted, or is that inappropriate? It's certainly not. We certainly will accept any amount of donation, because any donation helps us stay on the air. So anything you would like, Celestial Navigator. Celestial Navigator says, how can I contribute? Well, so let me just go over again. There's different ways you can contribute. There's rsbn.tv/donate. There's the chat room in YouTube by clicking the $ in the chat room. Or there's www.patreon.com/rsbn, where you can sign up to make a recurring donation once a month and get free stuff in return. We've been saying this lately, just to clarify. So on Patreon, rsbn.tv/donate, we get more than 90% of the money. At YouTube, we get 70% of the money. So with YouTube gives us 70% and they take 30%. And I know that might seem like a lot to some people, and it's certainly it's less than 90%. However, I do think the YouTube system makes it easy to donate, and also it's sort of fun because people can donate and other people can see it. So, but if you're completely neutral in terms of how you want to donate, if you don't care how you donate and you want us to get more of the money, I would say go with Patreon or rsbn.tv/donate, which is done through PayPal, rather than the YouTube. But I also think the YouTube thing is fun, and we still get 70%. And also, there's a cool thing with YouTube where like people can see each other's donations and it becomes like a fun communal thing. So those are the different ways you can donate. Also, you can donate through snail mail. You can mail us a check if you'd like. Our address is at our webpage, rsbn.tv, and you go to contact us, and that's where our mailing address is. All right, now for real, we are going to end the broadcast now. And thank you to the JC for showing all that information about donating. And thank you to all of you for watching. I'll give a few more last shout-outs to the chat room before we go off the air here. Let's see here. If anyone wants to say goodbye, now's the time, because I am getting off. But I want to say goodbye to you all. And there's a little bit of a delay in the chat room, so I'll wait a second. You're welcome, JC. Bye, JC. Bye, Miss Tree. Thank you to the moderators again for moderating. Thanks, everybody, for participating. Really enjoyed it. Thanks, everybody, for going in the chat. Thank you, Lynn Jean. Thanks, Zero Tolerance. Thanks, CU Tech Warriors and Ernie, and Dixie and Dan. JC, enjoy your day as well. Bye, Metro. Bye, 5555 Gravity. Bye, Hoarder Lock. Bye, Jeff Pritz. You're welcome. Bye, Sharon Gilly. Bye, Jason Revon. Bye, Stephanie and Derek. Bye, Keck King. Bye, Sean. Bye, Miss Tree and Dan P. And Dakota Tribe. And Trumpified. And DEFCON 2. And Herd, and Canadian Kid, and Eric Harris, Aaron Pearson. Thanks, Aaron, for the nice words. Bye, William. Thank you. Bye, Forgotten Man. Bye, Mrs. John Johnson. Thank you. Bye, Ruler Steve. Bye, Ernie. Bye, Real Frank. Bye, Zero Tolerance. I'm not really rapping, I'm just saying the names. Bye, Prince Angel. Bye, Charlie Rod. Bye, Emperor Corning. Bye, AVR. Bye, Ryan Ward. Bye, Eustacia Mulucius. Bye, Stephanie and Derek. Bye, bye, Joseph. Is it Nguyen? Am I pronouncing that right? I hope I am, Joseph. Bye, Dan P. Bye, Jason Hill. Bye, Canadian Kid. Still some goodbye, so we're still saying goodbye here. Try to get to everybody that we can. All right, that is it. Before we go, we'll go back. Bye, Tikva. We'll go back to me. Hold on, one more time. See if I can do this. Whee! All right, this has been Right Side Broadcasting coverage of the French election. Emmanuel Macron has won. Well, the votes are almost all counted. It looks like he'll win with over 60% of the vote. There will be a legislative election in France in a month. I think we're gonna cover that too. We'll do something for that. Please keep watching Right Side. Join us this week as we cover the Sean Spicer briefings and whatever else news is happening. We will be there to cover it for you. So follow us on Twitter at RSB Network. Follow me. I'm at Lookner, at Lookner. Thank you to Jake Seals for producing today. Appreciate it. You can follow Jake at Jacob RSBN Music. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the notifications bell. Thank you to the moderators for moderating, and thank you to all of you for watching and sending in your comments and your questions and your news tips. Very much appreciated. So for me, for everyone at Right Side, this is Steve Lookner signing off. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we will see you very soon.